Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I am your host, Dr. Maury Mosovitz, with my all-time favorite, most wonderful, most stupendous co-host, Jen Albanese. Welcome, Jen.
Hi, Maury. How are you? Welcome, everybody, to the podcast.
I'm very excited. Dan Brown, who we were talking about, it's been like years, did a ton of stuff for us. I think when we were like starting to get into the ACC even, it's been that far back.
I feel like it's like 10, 15 years that we haven't caught up with him. This is
very
great.
young in his career. We were younger in our career. So it's pretty awesome to have him come back and see his success through working in collegiate athletics and now in the pros, and just super talented guy. Always has been incredibly talented.
Yeah, so creative. He's so creative. And now to be at the NFL level, I mean, that's, the highest echelon. So it's very cool that he gets to do that. And we're so proud of him. Like, that's so huge. But
yeah, awesome. We can't wait to hear all of his ideas. I think he'll have some great things going on.
Absolutely. I mean, we think about like the NFL, like we have an NFL team right down the road. I know we've talked about the Bills before, but like
they're not that close down the road. They're there, but
they're like what? They're like 2 and a half.
State.
They're in the same state. Okay, like
I guess some places don't have a team in their state. I'll take that.
Right, but we
have 3 teams in our state.
Well, not technically. The other 2 New York teams are in New Jersey. We have to be technical about that. But
for all the Bills fans out there, we'll definitely say that.
Yeah. But like, how many NFL games have you been to? I mean, because obviously in Baltimore, growing up there.
Yeah, so the Ravens weren't there when I was born as a kid. So like, I don't think the Ravens showed up. They were the Browns. And I think I was in 2nd or 3rd grade when they got into Baltimore.
Oh my God. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. And I don't know if I might have said it before, but like, I remember help naming the team. So when Art Monk brought them it'll hit me. But when they brought them from the Browns over, they knew they weren't going to keep the name anymore. Mm-hmm. So they put like a whole contest out about like what name to pick, and like all the local elementary schools voted on what they thought the best name was. And I kind of remember, I actually saw a clip of it the other day. It's so strange we're having this this conversation where they pulled out the name and they're like the Ravens, because it was like
Did you vote for the Ravens?
I did vote for the Ravens. It probably was like loaded that they knew they wanted the Ravens, because the other ones I feel like were not great
terrible
names. It was
like the marshmallows.
It had something to do with like the B&O Railroad, and I don't think anyone was picking that. It was like kind of weird. And then like another one was like, I think like the dirigibles or like a blimp thing. I was like, what kid is going to pick that? But like,
no.
I think the Edgar Allan Poe thing and the Ravens, like that was a big thing in Baltimore. So it was pretty cool. I remember they had the purple, and the whole thing was awesome. So they did a really cool like shield, I remember as a kid, that said it. But I probably went to like 10, 12 games like between the time when I like grew up, because everyone was going. It was so exciting because the Colts had left Baltimore, which was like every adult that grew up in Baltimore was so upset that the Colts had left. And there was like a band I remember as a kid, there was a band that kept playing until the Colts came back, but then they never came back. So
oh my God,
it became the Ravens band. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of Baltimore football memories.
That's cool though. I mean, to say you've gone to 10 or 12 NFL games, that's pretty cool. I mean, I think I've maybe been to 2 or 3. Yeah. That's about it. Because I mean, yes, you're right. They're not like right down the street, but I've been to a Bills game, which obviously is experience in itself, going to a Bills game.
Absolutely. I've been to one Bills game.
And it's just, that's on another level. Like they are a one of a kind fan base. They are one of a kind fan base. And then I've been to a Giants game, obviously, because I'm a big Giants fan. So, and MetLife is a great stadium. Obviously, we've done some games
in
there,
New Jersey.
In New Jersey, not in New York, in New Jersey. So yeah, I mean, I didn't go to that many NFL games, but just the level at NFL is just unbelievable, and their production value and everything is just so cool. So yeah, it's cool that we do have so many things, so many NFL teams, only a few hours away to be able to go and be a part of that.
And check out. And then people can go see all Dan's work at the Bengals, which will be pretty cool. And I'm sure he'll have some great things to talk to us once we get back after these messages. Well, here we want to get back.
Are you a loyal 5 Tips and Tricks podcast listener? If not, now is the time to start. Get all your info and fun content on the podcast by following us on all our social channels at @AthCareerPod. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting. Make sure to reach out to us. The one-stop shop for everything is our website, www.athcareer.com. Remember, follow and like us on @AthCareerPod, rate and review us, and get all your info at www.athcareer.com. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Maury, would you like to introduce our guest today?
Absolutely. Today's guest is a creative leader shaping the Cincinnati Bengals brand through impactful design and storytelling. With multiple seasons of experience in the NFL, he specializes in developing innovative, visual, and engaging fan-elevated partnerships and strengthening brand identity. He thrives in fast-paced environments, managing a growing creative team while balancing high-volume design requests. Before joining the Bengals, he worked with the University of Florida Athletics and later served as the Director of Creative Strategy at Mississippi State, where he helped spend 5 years elevating the program's brand. In addition to his full-time role, he freelances for the NFL Network and NFL RedZone, coordinating to their digital branding and assisting with weekly social graphics. A man with a vision for brand growth, both in the NFL and beyond. Very excited to welcome Dan Brown to the podcast. Welcome, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you letting me spit that out. I've been having trouble today, so thank you for letting me get through it.
Well, there's a lot to say. You've
I know.
Been so successful, Dan, and obviously we have a connection from way back in the day.
Yes.
First stop at Syracuse early on, so we got that full circle.
Yeah. No, I am super appreciative of this. Like you guys said, it's full circle for me. Got my foot in the door, and the journey I've been on ever since is incredible and worth sharing. And I have plenty of insight to share with all of the designers around, and hopefully I can help somebody get to where I am or motivate somebody to follow in the same footsteps.
Well, I know our viewers will be really excited to hear from you. So with that, why don't we hear your first tip?
Yeah, no, the first tip definitely it aligns with, my beginning, and getting that footing with y'all. And I think more people should really reach out and create your own opportunities. So whether that's, taking what somebody's already designing, and just doing it better. You never know if that opens a door for you, or I always say, experience goes a longer way than, money sometimes. And sometimes you have to offer free work, and that goes hand in hand with creating that opportunity. I mean, you see billboards all over the place. Design is everywhere. And all it takes is, a couple hours of your time, make the logo better, make the billboard better, build a brand kit for a college that may not have the budget to fund a creative team, and see where that leads you. And I mean, it's just taking a risk. Most of the time it pays out.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible that, you got your start probably by sending stuff out, making sure people got things that wasn't necessarily at the beginning to just make money. Clearly at the end, that was your goal, but to connect with people, to create a relationship and build an identity for your portfolio is such a interesting way to approach it. And people probably don't think, hey, if I throw myself out there, that might bring back big returns.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like planting a seed. I mean, once you get in the dirt, who knows where the roots grow and what branches come of it. And it's the people you meet. And one person leads to another person, and that person leads to 3 other people, and eventually you're well connected. Where I'm at now, I mean, I have former coworkers, friends that work in every league, every professional league. I have tons of coworkers that I've been with that are on other collegiate teams, and I mean, it's a huge tree once you get those years stacked up. I mean, you almost feel like it's a small world and everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we always say that athletics is big but small. Everybody knows everybody, like you said, and it's a good point, like to build up your personal brand too, so that you can sell yourself and your creativity. And that's what I always remember working with you. Like I would come up with an idea, but you would like make it tenfold, from what I was thinking, and it'd be like, whoa, that's way better than what I ever would have thought would come out of this idea. But that's something that you can use in the beginning to help build yourself to be able to make those connections, like you said, so people see your work. Because in like that design world, you got to like show it. It's got to be like tangible to be able to see it. And that's important. So that's a good one.
Awesome start, Dan. Thank you for that first tip. I can only imagine what's coming next. Let's get that second one underway.
Oh man. So this is kind of a loaded tip, but as I've gotten to where I am now, I've developed these kind of design principles, and that's what I lead by now. And when I'm at a stage now, I'm hiring young designers, and one of the first things is like teaching them those values, and making sure that that's how we reflect it in our work, and making sure that I'll just go through this list right now, but coming up with principles that you stand by in every piece of work that you do, and it really creates an identity for yourself and your own brand, your personal brand, but also helps elevate and boost the organization you're working with, the team you're working with, and it's just a great team builder as well. And I'll run through my list right now, and it's a couple bolded words, being effective design and not subjective design. Too many times we're designing because it's cool, and it's not effective. It's small type, or it's clustered, and cool graphics. Yeah, they have their time on social, and you might get some engagement, but we're in a business where we are a service for multiple departments, multiple teams, and there's an objective at the end. And if you're not creating effectively, then you're just leaving it up to be subjective, and people don't understand what you're creating, what the goal is, what you're trying to obtain. And then efficiency, as you kind of grow as a designer, you learn how to be quick. I've been fortunate to be on small teams because I've really increased my efficiency and learned to put together projects quickly and build my files so that anyone else can hop on them and build something quickly. So the requests will never slow down. So becoming the most efficient designer. It's never ending. So developing that efficiency skill is major. And then just details matter the most. I mean, the smallest ones, typos. I mean, sometimes you got to take a seat back from, getting super creative and just really hone in on like the details, your typos, your composition, like all that stuff matters. You choose the wrong font, it could kill your graphic. You choose the wrong song for a video, it could kill your video. So those details matter. I think when I worked at Florida, we actually ran into a situation. We were giving away shirts, and a coworker of mine actually forgot the R in shirts, and it was 10,000 free. Yeah. So yeah, you get it. Yeah. And that's a tiny little detail, but it matters.
It means a lot.
It goes from one thing to the other. It's totally separate.
Yeah.
Totally
different. A really popular shirt, though. I mean, it's like a collector's item at that point.
Yeah, no, those are the funny mistakes, but I mean, they could be crucial depending on how much money's going into it.
Yeah.
Another bullet point on my list was just becoming selfless. And that's the biggest hump, I would say, of being a designer, is like getting over that hump of it's not about us. It's not about me. We're working to achieve the objective similar to, effective design. Then technique, mastering your craft, and then getting good at it, which ties into your efficiency. Being confident and competent in your work, believing in it and knowing what its purpose is, that ties into the, effective design, being selfless, and then just evolving, like continuing to let yourself grow and evolve as a designer, learning new things, set aside time to develop your skill set. The world's growing around us. Technology's changing quick. Social media is a forever, changing world. What worked yesterday doesn't work tomorrow. So continuing to allow yourself to evolve is huge. And then being inclusive, like I'm a manager now, but like no project is too small, and understanding that you're helping your team by doing those small projects so that they can develop and they can grow. And then my last principle is just staying focused. Don't let the distractions get you. Continue to grow, continue to understand your purpose and your motives. And back to the loaded tip, but create these principles for yourself, because they only help you grow. And once you get to the stage of managing, like you're passing that torch on to the younger designers, and it goes a long way.
You referenced the hiring process and being involved with looking at things and using these principles to find and connect with those people that probably are going to help your organization and you as a leader, develop and do the best. How do you think on the other side, someone that's in the position, might be interviewing with you, can reflect these principles, can help kind of connect with you as a manager and say, hey, I know this is what this person stands for. How do you think engaging with that would be really helpful with those people that want to get into your field?
Yeah, no, I mean, it shows a true side of authenticity. You don't want to be robotic and just have people in your office that are executing projects. Like it shows a real side, and that, we're not just thinking of what today's projects are, but what today's project can lead to. Yeah. And I think, hearing these principles, just, I mean, you go in somewhere with a good structure and good motivation, like these are goals, as well as principles, like, and all they do is make us, you can take these principles and time into just everyday life too. I mean, being efficient in everything you're doing, time is important, as we were talking about with children, like, don't miss a minute, don't miss a second. Yeah. So same with your work. I mean, there's lots to do. And, having these and speaking upon to, the younger generation in interviews and getting them on board. I mean, it's exciting to know that there's a bigger picture behind just going to work and make a paycheck.
Right.
I like the one that you said about being selfless, because I think sometimes, the younger person right now looking for a job is about, let me build my personal brand. And that's important. And I understand that, but like understanding that there's a bigger picture, and that you're there to, grow the brand that you're working for, and that's got to be first before you and that, again, like you said, spans across all different, departments within athletics or sports, that you're there to do your job, and that's the first priority. So I think that sometimes younger generations forget that. So I think that that's a really good one, because you don't hear someone say like, be selfless. I think that that's a really good one.
And I'm a product of that. I really, it is rewarding to sit here and say that I've, what I'm doing is selfless work, because when I started, I was an idiot. I thought I knew everything. As
but everybody does when they start.
Don't we all?
Yeah. When you start, though, you do think you know everything. Like, that's just the way it is when you're young,
And I think part of that,
now
too,
we're looking at the old geezers that
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I literally, we're doing interviews right now, and I brought up like being selfless, and once you get over that hump as a designer, like that's huge. That's a milestone. I mean, as rewarding as any projects you do, like becoming, understanding selflessness. I mean, a lot of that came with having a child, but like there's just more important things in the world, and it's not, about me anymore. But I grew up as that young designer that it was about me, and I, wanted to do the cool graphics, and I thought I had all the answers. And I mean, I've worked with people, and I look back and I'm like, damn, I wouldn't have liked me if I was working with them. Just because I'm like, oh, is this dude even listening? So it's like, it's part of growing as a human being and growing within the industry. So I really put an emphasis on trying to teach that and
that's huge.
Help people follow that path of selflessness.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's huge.
Dan, I felt like we cram like 30 tips into one, but
I know, that was
awesome. But I think we're on number 3,
yes,
the third.
Yeah,
so
we're on 3.
What's your third tip or trick? But I feel like we did a ton in that one, but it was awesome.
Yeah, no, like I said, fully loaded. But my third tip, I love to tell people to bounce around and don't settle for your first job. Don't feel like you're stuck anywhere, especially when you're starting out, because working everywhere is so different. And that's not just, a different team, different colors, different brand. Like you're surrounded by different talented people, whether those are super talented people or people you just can't stand being around, like, or, the person that hypes you up every day, you are surrounded by different people, and those people come with different experiences. I mean, they're obviously, stepping along because of what they've been through or their experiences. So move around, bounce around. I mean, every office experience is different. Game days are different. The work structure is different.
Yeah.
Just being rewarded for your work is different. Some people, they don't tell you you're doing a good job. In some places you go and you get coffee in the morning, and they buy you lunch and tell you, get your pat on the back. Like, just go around. Like, and to the biggest point of this is like, experience lasts forever. I mean, it compounds over time, and you can sit back and be like, I deserve, this much money straight out of college. I made $825 working for the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
But I took $825 because I knew that would lead to somewhere greater. That would create, my network would grow, my experience would enhance, and like we were saying in the beginning, like, it's just this ever-growing tree of networking, and it leads to greater things. So, experience never goes away, but you can blow your paycheck on whatever, and then it's gone.
That experience will never be gone. You'll always have that no matter what you do. And it's kind of so interesting because I think we were talking about it today. I was in a meeting and saying, like, especially like if you're a young person and, you're like, grab every opportunity, whether it's, the school that you're at or the area that you work in, like, connect with those different places. And like you said at the beginning, like, throw yourself out there, say, hey, I'd love to like do some design work for you or collaborate with your team, get some experience. Even if they don't use your stuff necessarily right away, you at least got to like work with them, build that experience. And I think so many people might be afraid of like putting themselves out there. And like you said, like, it's such a beneficial thing, especially as a creative person like you are, to create that network and, don't be afraid to engage and connect. And whether that's in early on in your career, like in a school setting, or that's in your job where you're taking a couple different opportunities to really expand your abilities.
Yeah, no, and it's to that, like, I see so many young designers, young athletic, whether you're working video, you're working marketing, like I see too many times where seasonals or interns come in and they're not asking to do more. They're doing what they're told, and then they're going home.
Right. Oh my God, 100%. Like, we have that in our office right now.
Yeah. And it's like, man, if like, most people are fortunate to have like mentors that, push them along, but like, man, when you're young, like, to grab all the experience, do everything.
This is the time. Take advantage of it.
Exactly. Because then, like you said, when depending on the people that you work with, what style you like, what style you don't like, how you want to model yourself as a boss or a leader, you learn that from all those different experiences. However many, I've been through a few bosses at Syracuse, and I've taken something from each one of them, whether it's good or bad. It was, hey, I want to be like this, or I don't want to be like this. And that's key too with experience.
Yeah.
So
this is a little bit, we can all agree that we've probably had some season that had some negative effect to it. We've worked with some negative people, and I have had a season where I've managed a team and, leadership wasn't quite there. And I would apologize to my team and be like, hey, I'm sorry about this. But if there's one thing to take away from this, is that, it's not a total complete loss working with bad leadership, because now you are learning to
what it is.
You're learning what it is. You're learning how to react to it. You're learning to keep composure. So like those negative things, it's kind of like, shoot as many baskets as you want. The ones you miss are the ones you learn from.
Yeah.
Same thing with, being in bad situations in different work cultures. Like, take the negative and teach yourself how to handle it and how to react. Because I mean, it only benefits you. You got. I wish more people would be in those situations just to learn how to handle people like that. So,
absolutely.
In reflections and sitting in the kind of the older experience side, I know that we have the ability to look back and see it, and it's harder when you're in it, but really you can learn so much from those things that just might not have been what you felt was the best experience at the time, and said, okay, this is how I grew from that, and it becomes a rewarding thing at the end.
Yeah, and Maury, I honestly believe you probably learn more from a negative situation than you do in a perfect fun work culture.
100%. Right. Yep.
Because we're developing every day, and if everything's
my
perfect,
father says,
what are you learning?
You always remember the restaurants that were no good. It's hard to remember the ones that were that great. So it's either really great or really bad. That stuff in between doesn't always stick. So
yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Number 4.
Keep it on track, Jen. Number 4.
Number 4. All right. This one is just being adaptable. A lot of my tips kind of align with each other, but understanding objectives and if different leadership comes in and you're used to something, be adaptable, be flexible. My buddy Shweppy, coworker of mine, he threw these 2 words by me one time, and it's situational awareness. And I just can't not have a conversation and say it, because it has so much weight on it. Just understanding, situations and being able to, maneuver them and adapt. And because we are a service as designers, we are a service to different departments, and everyone has their different goals and objectives. So back to my first thing, the cool graphics don't always translate with a ticketing ad or a banner ad.
I was just gonna say ticket sales.
Small type. Yeah, it might be cool. You don't want all this type or anything, but that type has an effect, and we need people to read when something is or what the event is. So, we are a service for other departments, and just being adaptable and understanding that is huge.
Well, I even think about you have a guy on the team that, was doing well, but you didn't think was going to have this breakout year. And now you're going towards the end of the season, and now wasn't maybe a person you thought was going to be as a focus in your, graphics and in your and now they're very popular and you're that's got to be something that you're willing to be open to. Because if you're just oh no, we're only going to do the quarterback or only do the guy at the beginning of the season that everyone thought was going to be the one, it doesn't necessarily connect with your fan base or what you're doing. So
yeah, no, we ran into that situation with the Bengals. Losing seasons, injured quarterbacks.
Right.
You have to kind of shift gears and accept it. Players not signing their contracts when everyone wants them to sign their contracts. You have to avoid using them in assets. And then even we have a couple of players now that are, we're waiting for them to sign, and coming up with the draft, we can't be highlighting that position at all because we're waiting for someone to sign, and you start posting about this position, and people
now
are
changes
like,
the whole
you're
thing.
doing this. Yeah. So yeah. And then even severe injuries. I was working the game here when Damar Hamlin went down from the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
And the game ended within 7 minutes or so. And we can't go radio silent on social. And then the next day it's you have to understand when, read the room.
Situational awareness.
Situational awareness. Yeah.
Willing to pivot. Some people would be like, this is our plan. We got to stick to it. And you have no ability. You can't do that. You can't in a situation like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. There was no avoiding that. You had to address it.
Yeah.
I was going to say being adaptable, like if Joe Burrow changes his hair color, like, you got to change that out.
Yeah.
And some days he's blonde and then he's right. You never know. So you got to be adaptable.
Keeping you on your toes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we're down to that very last one. So Jen, throw it out there.
Okay. So Dan, what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So what do you know now at this point in your career that you wish you knew when you first started?
So I wish I had a better understanding of the impact that a simple graphic can have on somebody. We have the ability and the keys to the kingdom to change somebody's day, to change their emotion. A platform that 3 million follow in a game that 70,000 people watch. We have the ability in a world where things are so negative, we have the ability to create something that can let someone escape their daily routine and kind of sit back and relax and really enjoy and be, and feel rewarded with. We create these experiences and we create memories. We create whether someone has the best, glassware in their cabinet, like they might still pull out that Cincinnati Bengals cup that I designed that they bought at their first game. That's their cup. And it forever ties a memory. So you say you go to this game with, your grandpa brings you to a game. It's the first game that you've ever been to. It might be the only game you ever go to. That cup, that graphic will withhold a memory forever. Every time you look at that cup, hey, that's the game I went to with grandpa, or that's the game awesome. Joe Burrow threw 6 touchdowns in, The impact that we have it's so rewarding. And it's the more and more I do this, I wish I had a better understanding of that when I started. And so I wouldn't have taken for granted, like what I was doing and just understanding, like, whether you're doing a 5-minute graphic or a couple day wall mural, like that has a huge impact on somebody.
Yeah.
And it's that outlet for people.
That's so cool. I always say that too. Like we're not curing cancer. We're not saving lives, but we're giving people that out. And that's what sports is. It gives people, a little bit of time to forget their problems and like create a memory with their son or their daughter or their grandpa, like you said, and to be a small part of that, I think is very, very cool. And that's why you do it. That's why you have to do it. You got to have that thought. So that's cool. I love it.
Dan, you killed it. Thank you so much for being on this, thinking all those years back when you were doing graphics with us back at SU. So, thank you for your time and
thank you.
Awesome to hear your tips and hopefully everyone check out all the awesome stuff Dan does with the Bengals. So check out all of his graphics and all the exciting things.
Yes.
And Jen, always promote what we got going coming up.
So make sure you're following all of our socials at Career Pod, and then liking and sharing everything and following us on all your podcast platforms. And we have new episodes that drop every Tuesday. So Dan, this was awesome. Thank you so much. It was so good to see you and catch up. This was awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.
If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platform.